I titled this The Awoken Mind to talk about how our minds and our stomachs have a lot of links. Talk about alternative like elimination diets and labeling, deception, marketing, and stuff like that. And yes, I'm Sammy, Shiki El Kasir, very, very short man. Before we start, I just want to tell me, everybody, a little bit about yourselves, what brings you here, what you know about nutrition, and what you're hoping to achieve for yourself. You go first.
Okay, I'm Sayed. I'm a senior software engineer, 31 years old. I'd like to improve myself in the knowledge of nutrition because my lifestyle is not good. I always get delivery food, fast food, junk food, and this affects my health badly. So I'm trying to change this lifestyle. I'm trying to go to the gym, and I got a diet from the internet, nutrition plan, but I want to dig deeply in the field so I can know more information about it to improve my physical health and also mental health.
Very good. I talk a lot about the mental health side of things. You have to be careful in the. Hold on.
This is the guy for coffee.
Okay. You have to be careful on the internet in today's world. Everything is a religion now. As a, do you have a Vico diet?
عندك فيكولا؟
في بيكولا بس مش دايت.
7 number Sprite? Okay.
Fish diet once?
I have coffee.
Do you have like juice, like strawberry juice?
Yeah, I have strawberry.
Strawberry juice?
A smoothie or?
No, just regular juice.
It's fresh without
fresh.
sugar.
Is it
اللي هو without
من غير سكر؟ من غير سكر؟ من غير سكر؟
هو فريش زي ما هو.
اوكي من غير سكر.
ماشي.
لا
هو تمام.
اوكي انا في انت عندك نسكافيه ولا لاتيه كافيه؟
ممكن كابتشينو بلا.
اوكي ممكن لاتيه
اوكي
بس يبقى من غير فوم واكسترا هوت بليز.
تمام.
أنا ممكن آخد لاتيه برضو سكين عندك سكين إكسترا هوت بس
اوكي.
هاخد عصير ولا فراولة؟ يبقى هو اتنين كده في فراولة. إيه؟
في فراولة، ممكن مانجا، ممكن جوافة، ممكن رمان.
ماشي ناخد ايه؟ ايه الاوبشن؟ هو اتس اونلي وان؟
مفيش فراولة، أنا أقصد مفيش فراولة.
مفيش مانجا.
أنتوا اوكي؟
هي عايزة فراولة
انت ايه اللي عندك؟ يعني فراوله
اتنين
اتنين
فراولة.
فراولة واتنين لاتيه واحد سكيمت وواحد مش
عادي.
عادي.
تمام.
أكلنا رمان.
رمان؟ سموزي ولا عادي؟
لا عادي.
وأنتي؟
انا قلت لك فراولة
زي
عادي.
سموزي ولا عادي؟
عادي.
اوكي.
من غير سكر.
حابين ناخد مية ولا حاجة تانية؟
انا اتنين مرة.
اوكي.
So we got blended strawberries, Maya,
ووتر.
water, Maya,
مايو.
يا ولد
ماي.
Nutella latte, I'm just kidding.
لاتيه.
لاتيه.
It's the coffee latte.
Strawberry juice,
Yes, for me pomegranate. Pomegranate.
pomegranate,
موزيرات. رمان.
Rمان. Pomegranate. Pomegranate juice.
pomegranate juice.
Yes.
Remember, I'm a white Arab.
Close enough.
Yeah.
I was saying with the internet, we have to be careful with what we study because there's a lot of. I have my bias. Other people have their bias. I'm sure you have all of your bias. And I'm talking about my bias as we go along. Nutrition science is a very hard science to do proper research in. So, like when you're learning, just try to learn the basics. And any questions you have, please ask. Sure.
Okay. I'm trying to fight my craving to sweets.
Okay.
That's it.
We have the same thing. Why didn't you tell me that we share the same thing?
All of us actually.
I never heard her say that before. Like exactly.
Yes.
I see her like give the face of like basbousa. Oh my god.
Sour candy. This is the face for the sour candy. Okay.
Well, I was just complaining about this. I have this problem.
Reda?
Reda.
Reda?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the same thing. You can say gada.
Gada.
Yeah.
Gada.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Well,
Yeah.
All for the
Tell me a little about yourself, and
Don't allow him.
I know you might have a little more experience than
Out,
this, maybe.
Well, actually, I'm an educational consultant and life coach, trying to put myself into a good lifestyle habits because I've been fighting all the way my life. Yani, since I was 18, I'm like always overweight with like 10 to 15 kilo. So I'm always fighting like to reduce weight, and then after few years I'll go back to the same weight. On and off ongoing. So, but lately I stopped with my weight because of my age. Like I'm 52 years old now.
Oh, mashallah,
Yeah.
Quite.
Quite. I'm trying to keep myself healthy and to reduce the some weight that I've gained lately. And
You don't look like
Really?
Allah. Never. I was surprised.
Yeah.
I was never expecting حتى 40s. I thought that you were late 80s.
Really? Wow.
Late
Sure.
30s.
Actually, I said that
I mean,
It is that
birthday
Yes,
years.
the 80s generation.
Yeah, you look like maximum.
Yeah, but I decided that when they got me my cake, I twist the
Wow.
25. So I'm just 25 and that's it.
Yeah, she's 25 with extra experience.
With extra experience, yes.
Meshi.
But I'm struggling now because I've tried a lot of things, a lot of diets, and I went for a lot of nutritions, and still not losing weight. Yani hardly I'm losing weight.
Okay.
So finally, I decided to go to the Diet Hub, if you've heard about them, with the cut injections, and it's something like.
I'm afraid of this. It's safe.
Well, actually, it's safe till now. But
You know
I'm
what's
not
the-
taking it
What
for-
is it?
It's like it's not
Stomach?
Mesis therapy
It's not a meditherapy. It's Munjaro. It's the same like. The
Oh, it's
Mounjaro.
like Ozempic.
It's Ozempic. I'm
Okay.
taking the Ozempic.
There's 3 or 4 different
Yes, I'm
injectables.
taking the
like-
Ozempic.
You took it already?
I took it like for 2 months now.
And
I lost like 5 kilos only. Still, it's hard to lose weight,
Okay.
even with the Ozempic. And I'm following a diet, but I'm not getting real results. So I'm not really sure where I'm stuck. I followed a lot of different diets.
I would ask you, like, let's say you have a target weight. Why is it important to you?
It will keep me healthy and fit
Okay.
with a good healthy and stable life. I like to do a lot of activities, a lot of traveling, hiking, and diving and stuff like that. So I need to be fit and able to do this. If I stop,
If you use it or lose it is definitely the
yes,
expression.
exactly.
Understood. Okay, we'll definitely cover some of this stuff. We'll mention some of the things you're addressing. It sounds like you have the yo-yo pattern, which a lot of us have.
Yeah.
Yeah, number 2.
But they already know.
Let's just tell a little.
Okay, my name is Ghada. Like I'm working in the business field, so shortly speaking. So about nutrition and health and this stuff, I have been always a sports girl. I used to dance ballet. I used to be a ballerina, as you corrected. So I used to be a ballerina. So and I used to do swimming, a lot of things in sports. So I used to be fat for a while. I think it was till I was 14, 16 something. Then my whole life changed. He said that I'm not overweight, but I feel that it's.
You don't look it. The numbers
Yeah,
technically
the number,
are
yeah.
classified,
But these
but I don't
numbers
see where it is.
Yeah, but these numbers are the same 10 years ago. 10, 15 years ago, the same. Now I'm 33, so I know that since 15 to 33, I think it's these 18 years, I don't know why I'm the same weight, but my shape changes. So my problem is not about this. I love to be fat, and I go to the gym every now and then. But yet the problem is about sweets. I'm craving sweets all the time. I feel dizzy after eating them. Dizzy, like I lose my conscious. No.
Really?
Yeah, and they don't have diets. You have the same?
You need to check.
No, I have checked. I have been
No,
to all the doctors in the world.
I mean with
The blood meter,
yeah.
when you're feeling that way, you need to see if your blood
I
sugar is
know.
dropping too low.
There's
Because
no. I don't have diabetes. I don't have.
It's
uh,
not,
Yes.
it's gonna be
You're
something
be
with
burning
Something
like
like
calories. It's
pre-
very
uh,
high.
No, I don't have it.
The way she's describing it is that her sodium is being thrown off, but the fact that it's after eating, is it all sugar or is it just chocolate?
Uh-huh.
Is it all sweets? Is it any time you have sweets you
No,
get dizzy?
only sweets. Yeah.
But every time.
I didn't focus this much, but I think it's chocolate. Too much chocolate. I don't eat chocolate. I just buy 5 of them. I eat them.
The hospital can't tell you what's happening
They said-
right after you eat.
No.
You have to check your blood sugar.
They do.
No,
When you're dizzy.
Instantly.
Instantly, I go to the hospital each time, and they put me.
No, I
They
mean
said
like
it's. You forgot to eat. You
when the
forgot to
business
drink.
start, you need like to
Yeah,
check it.
they do it immediately.
When it happens, the moment you're passing out, do you check it?
No, I'm not. I wasn't passing out, but I was like.
I went through
This
this
is
before.
like this. Like, I just understand that this is the head. That's. But if what she's telling, I'm not like focusing on.
I think this is the overdose of sugar.
Yeah.
Well, that's a theory, but it's like, a normal healthy person wouldn't have reactive hypoglycemia to the level of dizziness where it sends you to the hospital in some people's cases. There's usually something associated with it. The way you describe your symptoms
So
to me,
am I gonna?
because you also, are you out?
I'm gonna die?
Everybody's gonna die.
No, I mean now.
No, probably not. Maybe you should eat some protein.
Eh?
Maybe you should eat some protein, but it's okay. All right,
Come on. Tell them something.
so before I start, I'll tell my story. I wanna we have in my nutrition certification, we are taught to be conscious of our biases. Every single person in the diet space has their own perspective, but the science that's universal is very small and very weak. And so a lot of it is our own interpretations. I stand in the place of what they call clean eating. I come from an animal-based versus a plant-based perspective. That's more for health and with all my restrictions than it is for just general health. There is no one diet that works for all humans. What works for you might be different for you, might be different for you, might be different. That we all have to, as a coach, I always try to find a way to navigate people towards better decisions, not towards just do keto or just do vegan or anything like that. That's not my job, I'm not a dietitian. So as a coach, I would be more of your teammate than I would be of like a doctor, where a dietitian will just tell you do this diet for medical reasons and health stuff like that. There's going to be a lot of different diets I discuss here. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on any of them. They're all forms of like an elimination diet and a restrictive diet. They all have one theme in common, and it's real whole foods. The more we can focus on eating foods that our ancestors ate or our grandparents ate, a more reasonable way of doing it, and the less we can focus on the modern world food, the healthier we can be. And then within that framework, for certain diseases and illnesses, then there's even healthy foods that some of us, like myself, it's so hard not to be able to have dairy. Because it's like be able to just go to the store and get a cup of yogurt for my protein. I can't do it because of what it does to my mind. And so everybody has their own thing that they have to work with. And the goal is always to find what works for you. And to not wake up tomorrow and I'm gonna do keto and work out 6 times a day. It's like take where you are now, accept where you are now, and find small steps each day, each week to get closer to where you want to be. And regarding to what you said, and this is a common thing, like I talk about my weight loss. I always, when I was heavy, wanted to reach 200 pounds, and I reached 90 kilos. I was 120 for most of my life. And I made that success when I found something more important than the scale. The scale wasn't my focus, my mind was my focus, my health was my focus. The fact that I was staying at home and doing nothing for 3 years of my life and wanted to have a life again, have a future again, motivated me to be more consistent with what I was trying to do. About me, I'm Sammy Farouk El Kassir, I'm 44, I'm certification with NASM in Precision Nutrition Level 1 and Level 2. It's not, no. That was me in 2004 in front of the pyramids. That was me in October. That was me in 2012, and that was me a couple of years ago. Like,
None of the pictures look alike.
I get that a lot. I don't recognize that guy. And like I said, I didn't do this just for my weight, but I did this for my mind. I had a lot of issues with my mind, a lot of things that medicine could not treat, could not help. There's no medicine for the stuff I deal with anyways. And learning how being closer to a whole foods diet and less of the, I used to binge on like Snickers and McDonald's and everything. I mean, this is just something that kind of, that's the difference between where I am now and where I used to be. And my whole life was just, my McDonald's would be like a double quarter pounder, large fries, large soda, 10 chicken nuggets, not trying to eat 60. 2 apple pies, 3 chocolate chip cookies. I'd go to Dunkin' Donuts afterwards. I'd get like 2 or 3 donuts. I'd get a couple of culottes. I'd go to 7-Eleven. I'd get Starburst and Skittles and Doritos and Sun Chips. Just eat everything. Well, the fact that I wasn't 200 kilos is surprising to me. There was only 120 of those. And now most of my diet is meat, seafood, fish, fruit, vegetables. Sometimes if I'm trying to gain weight or not worried, white rice, if it's gluten-free, white rice. Because rice is naturally gluten-free, but I've learned in Egypt, most of it's contaminated. I go to a restaurant and I have 1 spoon of it and the bloating starts immediately. So I have to buy it from like Gourmet or some of the specialty shops when I'm here. But I'm also a bit of a carb addict. I still eat, I still have issues with binge eating. So as a coach, most coaches, we all come from a place of overcoming and we're even still struggling. I still have things with the nicotine, I still eat too many dates when I'm here, like half a kilo in like 1 sitting, just blah, blah. Don't stop. But because I'm eating real foods, it doesn't really change my weight much, it doesn't really affect my mind much. I have to be careful with like acid reflux, but as long as I avoid certain fruits and stuff like that, I'm okay. I basically covered all of this stuff. A lot of why I was doing this was because my mind was gone. A lot of what I was dealing with was a lot of paranoia, suicidality, a lot of anger at times, bordering on like psychosis at times, which I basically, long story short, learned was caused by gluten intolerance. That's one of the reasons I avoided is these things don't just affect our bodies, they affect our minds, and for some of us, especially people with like, I'm not a schizophrenic, but the science would show for people with schizophrenia and autism that removing gluten and removing casein, which is one of the milk proteins, so we just say dairy, can help, I don't want to say reverse those diseases, but make the symptomology be managed enough where the people who are schizophrenic, they're not hallucinating anymore, they're not paranoid anymore. And as long as they keep those types of diets, they're good. Now, this is very specific for people with very specific health issues. A lot of this stuff is for things like autoimmune diseases. I'm going to get to that stuff later when we talk about the diets. When I did lose my weight, I was still eating McDonald's and drinking soda. I was using basically, without knowing what it was at the time, intermittent fasting. Just wouldn't eat for the first 4 hours of the day, wouldn't eat for the last 4 hours of the day. That is one strategy if you're uncomfortable chasing your diet and trying to slim down, is just limit the amount of time you're eating. Usually people follow 16-8 when you don't eat for 8 hours. You can do 14-10. Some people do 1 meal a day. That's a great way to limit your calories. It's not ideal for protein and things like that. Does anybody have any questions? I don't want to just keep rambling and stuff. I make this accountable.
Well, actually, I feel that like also this way of fasting, it's not even good for everyone. I thought that I can do this for a while, but I couldn't.
When you say you couldn't, what do you?
And when I asked, I can't stop eating for that long, even though I don't feel good. Like my energy, what else? Like I feel pain in my body. I have a thyroid.
Thyroid issue.
Yes.
Is it
So
hypo?
no,
I'm assuming.
no, it's not high. It's low.
Low, yeah, hypothyroidism.
Hypo.
Okay, so that affects your metabolism. That's one of the things that will lower your calorie
That's
burn.
one of the things, yes, one of the things that is affecting, and that's why they told me even the normal fasting for Ramadan, this even though it's not really helping your throat to
What's
act.
right?
الغدة
Oh.
الغدة الدرقية.
When people have,
TSH?
They measure with these. When your higher thyroid levels are low, that actually lowers your calorie burn. When you're hot, like really, really thin people often have the opposite.
They're high.
And
Very
they
high.
are actually really angry.
But do you take medication for your
I
thyroid?
take, yes, of course.
Do you know that this is the reason since ever of your that you cannot lose weight easily?
Yes, I know.
Yes.
It's one of the reasons, yeah.
Yeah, it's main.
When it comes to what you're saying about, if you change your diet in any way, because let's say you go from like what you're eating now and you decided to do like a keto diet, there is going to be a transition period where you're going to feel uncomfortable. There are ways to mitigate that stuff, but it's sort of like the idea of, I need to eat. It's like the reason that human beings gain weight from an evolution perspective is we went through periods of time where there was abundance, and then we went through periods of famine. And the weight gain is our evolved way of being able to deal with the times there's no food. Now we live in an environment of unlimited food all the time. And so a lot of it is also, you could think about it like a drug. And some of the food we eat are objectively drugs in that way, but that if you do something consistently long enough, if you were to say, I'm going to stick with fasting for 4 hours in the morning, just that. You do that for like a month or 2 months, a lot of the things that you're feeling, in theory, I'm not a doctor, should be reduced or even better, because your body gets used to, your body tries to chase consistency. It tries to get used to what you're doing. If you were to do the same thing every single day, you'll feel different over time than you would where it's like, oh, I have this hunger. It's like, if you were to do it long enough, you would.
I feel this especially in the morning.
Especially, you might be someone who's better to save it for the end of the day. If you wanted to try that strategy, just start in the morning with the food, and then by 5, 6 o'clock, okay, that's when I stop eating. And if you
Actually, this is usually.
and that's actually slightly better for fasting than doing it what most people do, which
You
is
know the problem what? I stopped all junk foods for years,
Okay.
for a very long time, and I stopped even the rice, macaroni, bread, any
Starchy carbs.
carbs. Yes, I stopped it. Like I'm using only the white basmati rice.
Okay.
Whenever I need to eat that, and taking all protein.
Can you show me an example of how much rice you eat one sitting with your hand?
No, not much. Not much. Like 5.
3-5 spoons.
3-5 spoons.
Okay.
Cooked.
Cooked
Yes,
rice.
cooked rice spoons.
Okay.
And the most will be vegetables and salad and stuff like that. Fruits. Sometimes I go for chocolate, but not much. I'm not
Okay.
that.
How often would you say?
sugar-oriented.
How often would you say you had like chocolate or sweets when you were doing that?
Once a month, مثلا.
Once a month. Okay.
Once a month.
They're jealous.
Once a day.
They're jealous. I'm jealous.
But actually from يعني I feel more into the fino bread مثلا.
لا ما ماليش في العيش بقى. I'm not into bread.
Sometimes, but I eat one and then I feel like what? Why did I do
You get
this?
bloated?
No.
That's the gluten most likely.
The gluten, yes, because I used to have one of my diet هذا recipe إن هو to be a gluten-free diet, and it was really good for me, and I felt like really healthy, and I have no problem with my stomach, and I don't feel that I'm اسمها إيه منفوخة يعني bloated خالص.
Whether or not people have celiac disease, which is the known gluten disease,
Yeah.
a lot of people, when they cut it out and put it back, they notice the bloating is it's very hard to digest, put it that way.
Yeah.
And so it sounds like you have a sensitivity to it, not like me necessarily.
Exactly, but I didn't believe that. Okay, why I do have this sensitivity, and I didn't realize that before. I'm just eating it normally. So why now when I'm eating this, I'm back to the gluten things?
There is definitely something in the, I focus a lot on these elimination diets, where people eliminate things for a while,
I
and
will show
they
you
put
some.
put something back,
Mm.
and it's like, why do like when I cut out the gluten and we
Exactly.
get exposed,
Yeah.
why do I feel worse than I did before?
When I'm back.
Because if you're doing it all the time, your body tries to adapt, and it feels normal, but you don't actually realize that you might have been bloated the whole time.
Mm.
And there's also the theory that if you stop eating these things and you do have like the autoimmune disease, your body's creating antibodies, You stop eating it, the antibodies goes away. Then you put it back, there's no antibodies. So there's nothing for the body to try to find. That's a speculative thing I just said. But gluten is the most common food intolerance, and it just seems more and more, and all of the reasons as to why these things are all theories. They don't know for 100%. Have you ever been tested for celiac disease?
Yeah.
You have to eat gluten for 2 months, and then they do an endoscopy, where they shove a camera down your throat, and they see if there's a certain part of your intestines that have atrophied. And then that becomes an official diagnosis of celiac.
Really?
But there are people who don't have celiac that still have gluten intolerance. Like it's a different diagnosis that they don't really know what's going on. What are you gonna say? Yeah, pay attention. What are you gonna say?
No, I'm not gonna pay attention. Because I need chocolate now.
You want chocolate now?
I'm kidding.
Okay. I want chocolate now.
I was about to show you some of my desserts around the world.
Okay.
So I'm thinking about being a food blogger. Because I have a huge material.
Understood. So in 2017, I was going through a lot of health issues. I have low blood pressure, 80/60 all day, every day. I was like ear ringing. My behavior was just at its worst. And then there was this game I used to play that I was active before my weight gain called Dance Dance Revolution. You probably don't all know it here. But I talk about like they have like the arcades here with like the arrows and stuff. And I rediscovered that, and something about exercising in that way, connecting with my old friends, woke my brain up to say I gotta get my life in order. And so I was trying different things, and I reached 90 kilos in June of 2018. Before coming to Egypt in September, I was still eating McDonald's, I was still drinking normal soda, I was just trying to eat healthier and move more effectively. My mind and my body a lot of my physical problems were getting better. My mind was only a little bit better. And my mood was still, and my behavior issues were still too much. That's when I came to Egypt. Basically, as I wrote here, being thin does not automatically mean being well. That the mindset that we can have as opposed to what the scale says would be, what's more important than the scale to me? For a lot of people I know, it's their kids. A lot of people who have children, they change their diet after they have kids because they don't want to show their kid an unhealthy way of living. In Egypt, I went to Soma Bay as a suggestion of my cousins to do water fast with Redeem Health. Maybe some of you heard of it. And that's where everything changed for me. Was day 6 of the water fast. I have like psoriasis that completely cleared. My mind was calm. It was like bliss. It was like a psychedelic state almost. And I'm not the only person who reports this with like long-term fasting. There is an objective calmness that happens where we just eliminate everything. And most likely this is our ketones get really, really high. We'll talk about that later. As well as, and I know this now, you're not putting anything in your body that it can react to. If you're not eating anything, if all you're having is clean water, there's nothing for your body to react to in the way like you might be feeling bloated, for example. I did this at a retreat with doctor supervision and 40 other people on a beach in beautiful weather. It's much different than if you're trying to do it by yourself. Welcome.
Safwan, she's my friend.
Hello.
Sami. Sayed. Nihal.
Pull the chair around.
Hello.
And as I wrote here, like I said, these slides are not for me. That was the first time that all the noise in my head was gone. It was the first time my skin was clear. And it made me realize, okay, there's something to our lifestyles that is affecting our minds and not just our bodies and our health. I never do it for weight loss because a lot of times by the time you're done, you'll end up binging and put on weight. So these kinds of things, there's a lot of science that goes into why it's different. By day 5 of the fast, you're actually less hungry than you are on day 3 and 4. You don't get progressively hungrier and hungrier and hungrier. Your hunger signals go down after a while, assuming you're not really, really like thin or malnourished. And so,
Actually, I use this, but not just water, it's juice.
Juice is different. It is very different.
Without sugar.
Juice is sugar.
Juice.
Juice is sugar.
It's sugar?
Juice is sugar.
Fructose.
If you take an orange, you squeeze out the juice.
Yeah.
You don't have the pulp anymore. You just have pure liquid sugar in that way. Where with the pulp, you get the fiber and the bulk and slows you
So
digestion.
strawberry is better than the orange?
from a pure sugar perspective, strawberries have less sugar than oranges, yeah.
Yeah, I always order orange and I thought that I'm doing good.
If you eat the orange, you eat the strawberries,
Better than
it's
the-
better than even this blended. It's like slightly pre-digested and stuff like that. But in the context of fasting, technically speaking, eating carbohydrates is anabolic. That means growth. It releases insulin, which signals to the body grow. Not necessarily get fat, just all forms of storage in that will require insulin. So a juice fast will cleanse your body from a lot of the other things, but it's not the same biology as eating nothing or eating pure fat, let's say, which would be the closest you're going to get to a fast with food. But you probably felt really good by the end of it, I'm guessing.
Yeah. I didn't feel like eating, like, okay, I'm fine.
You felt fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's why I say, like, we're not really hungry in the modern world. A lot of it is habits and craving. The people in Gaza, those are legitimately starving people with what was going on recently with some of the pictures I saw. They're very thin, they're very malnourished. But the rest of us, the world record for this type of fasting is 382 days without calories. The man was 210 kilos to start, and I think he was 85 by the end. Of course, doctor supervision, multivitamin, a lot of things, but calories, the guy didn't eat because that's what the weight is for. We gain body fat, it's for when we run out of food to have energy on our body.
But the problem is to control the eating habit. It's the
Yeah.
eating. We're used to just eat.
It's easier for me to eat nothing than to try to moderate my intake. Once you start eating, your brain, for a lot of different reasons, can say, give me more, I want stuff like that. Some of it isn't just, it's not always us. It's not you. Oh, what's wrong with me? It's not you. A lot of it's the environment. Some of it is more of our psychology. Welcome, by the way. Just please introduce yourself a little bit.
My name is Safa. I'm a friend of Leda
Mhm.
for more than 10 years.
Brooke?
They're 20. They are 20, she just don't want to make it.
I don't know if I should say Mabruk or I'm sorry. Go ahead. University. And what, is it, are you just here to join with her, or do you have any interest in nutrition or anything you'd like to know?
Yes, she told me that they talk about nutrition, but I'm interested in this.
Okay.
By the way, Safa is Palestinian.
Yes.
Very nice. Okay. Does anyone have questions?
About this fasting 6 days.
I did 7 days, like 7 times.
تشرب حاجة زي
So it's only water and milk?
When I did it for the retreat in Soma Bay, only water. Every other time that I've done it, like, there are different ways of doing it. There's bone broth. Some people have black coffee. There's fasting mimicking diets where you have like less than 500 calories. But these types of fasts, yeah, it's like maybe just water and salt. Because you still need to have electrolytes. And when you sweat and things like that, you drink water, it dilutes your salt. So you do have to replace the salt that you take or you'll get really, really dizzy. Well, I was talking about how I first discovered the link between diet and the mind and the body doing a water fast in Soma Bay, where it's just water, no calories of any kind. I did it for 7 days, and some of the people I know did it for 21 days, and like I was saying, the world record is 382 days without food. That's in the Guinness Book of World Records, actually. So cool. I don't recommend this for weight loss. I don't recommend these things for weight loss because, in my case, I always gain weight by the end because I always end up binging, like well after like the breakout period is done. It's more for healing. It's more for allowing our body to cleanse itself. The term in science is called autophagy, where it's autophagy
What's the
or autophagy. It literally means self-eating. The body will eat itself, and it focuses on, at least according to scientific research, the garbage. It tries to get rid of like the bad cells in your body. When there's nothing coming in, it has to burn itself. Like people will say, like, is it bad for weight loss? It's not good if you're trying to be Big Ramy. If you're trying to protect every ounce of muscle you have, I wouldn't recommend it. And I don't recommend it for weight loss, because like I said, by the end you might lose your mind, and the things that we're all talking about that we go through, I'm the same way. But for a cleansing, for how it feels to be calm and content, to have your skin clear up, that's one of the advantages to it, at least in that time.
So what were the activities you were doing through this?
A lot of walking and yoga.
Walking and
A lot of walking and yoga.
Oh,
They believed in keeping the exercise to a minimum. I've learned since then that it's really good to strength train even while you're fasting, but you should reduce the intensity by a lot. It shouldn't be very hard. And if you don't do that, lots of walking. You still want to move, because the muscles in our body, like our biceps and stuff, the body doesn't prioritize them. It's not important to the body to have big biceps. The heart muscle, the liver muscle, the kidneys, that's more important. So if you're not strength training at all, your body's going to get rid of all the muscle that you've built from it. So when you're fasting especially, you're going to lose muscle no matter what you do. A little bit of exercise can help tell the body, keep as much of this as you can. But yes, if you're not eating protein or you're not eating food, you're going to lose some muscle mass. And that's why I say these are not, I don't recommend these things. If you're 400 pounds, okay, you can fast for a long time. But the rest of us, these are healing tools. I am not suggesting anybody try this unless you're doing it in a group with a doctor's supervision. You need a doctor to be monitoring your case individually. So,
ماشي فضل الهرمون ماشي ولينا بعد
يعني دكتور كتير قوي يا جماعه ايه ده؟
احسبي مسامي
لا ما انا حسيت
خلاص لا
so Egyptian, I'll pay. Okay. So after I was done with that fast, around the same time, the internet was talking about intermittent fasting and keto diets and elimination diets like that. And I tried keto for a while. And for mental health, that is a very, very good diet. I'll talk about it more later. There's a lot of science into that. Which ended up being a very restrictive diet in its own. There's no grains, there's very little fruit. You're getting rid of a lot of the foods that can be a problem for our eating and stuff. The one issue with it, especially now, is there's a lot of treats. There's a lot of, very easy to like eat on that diet nowadays. And through those 4 years until 2022, I was doing a lot of different experiments and stuff. And even at times where I was just eating normal food, I didn't know that I was sensitive to things like gluten, dairy, and soy. And this is a very gross story, but it's how I first figured this out. I was making pizza for the first time in my life, and handling dough, handling gluten. And then I made this keto bread recipe that uses a lot of gluten, like 154 grams. And I started eating it, and my stomach got just destroyed. And I went, this is the gross part, so forgive me. I went to the bathroom, and I looked at what was in the bathroom, and I said, that looks like gluten. Because I never worked with it before, I didn't know what it really looked like. And that looks like something I've been dealing with since I was a child, because I've always had digestive issues since I was 12. I don't know why the doctors never investigated it. And then doing some research on the internet, figuring out about how there is a link between mental health and gluten since World War II, where the countries that had bread shortages had noticeable improvements in their mental health, and when the bread shortages ended, the problems came back. There is some evidence that science and even tests that can be done for some of these things. It's not just the body, it's the mind. That's what I kind of focus on, is eating a certain way can help us improve not just our looks, not just our weight, but how we feel about ourselves, how we love ourselves. And so I went in June of 2022 to see Dr. Alicio Fasano. He is, if you've ever heard the term leaky gut syndrome, he's the guy who coined it. He's probably the leading researcher into these types of disorders. He's a gastroenterologist, and he gave me a 2.5-hour doctor's appointment explaining a lot of the details of these things and what I should do from the science perspective. And it's gluten-free for life, reduced or eliminated dairy. Since then, I've done a lot of diet experimenting to figure out what I'm reacting to and what the reactions are. Is this everyone? No. I'm kind of an extreme case. But like in your case, you notice clearly when you eat bread or pasta, things like that, you're having a lot of bloating at least. Maybe you get brain fog and things like that. And you feel better when it's removed. So then the hard part isn't about what you know, it's about why we continue, let's say, with the things that we do.
Yeah.
See if it's here. I'm going to skip this for now because it's going to just be too much time. I'm not going to talk about all the other things that I've done. We'll go over that as we go on. Does anyone have anything they want to ask, any comments, any thoughts?
Yeah, I need to have this food awareness. What should I eat and why should I not eat? Like, it's like to have a menu of what not to eat, what to avoid. Because the normal things that we are aware of is sugar, salt,
Salt is a
carbs.
myth. Salt is a myth. You need salt.
I mean,
You, objectively, probably when you're
Yeah.
dizzy, you describe that you have salt cravings. That might be your body's way of saying, I'm sodium depleted.
You're very smart because I had this problem since I stopped salt. I think that was 2-3 years ago. I stopped putting salt in everything, thinking that it would help.
You stop the salt and not the sugar?
Yes.
I can't stop salt, but I can't stop sugar.
Ah, okay.
I mean, salt is, we don't need water for hydration, we need water in balance with sodium. That's why I say when you're doing the fasting, especially when your carbs are zero, your body drains out a lot of excess water and brings salt with it. People doing low carb diets, they need more salt than everybody else. We live in a very salt phobic society, but you actually need it to live more than you need food.
So cutting off salt 2-3 years ago,
If you don't have high blood pressure,
I don't have.
then salt your food to your enjoyment would be the easiest way to put it. Then a lot of the problems with high sodium is the foods that we eat with the sodium, like potato chips, and like the excess sodium they put in those. If you get rid of all those foods, and this was what I was gonna say, my bias and my answer, and this is common amongst all of like these alternative diets, is real food, single ingredient. Focusing on protein, I lean towards animals, but people who are about issue eating animals, I have vegan clients in America, they do just fine. But it's real food. That's the simple answer. Is it one ingredient on the label? Is it something your grandparents could have eaten? Is it something our ancestors could have eaten? Or is it a frankenfood that you can't even recognize what the ingredients are? That's the difference between a McDonald's apple pie and an apple, as they talked about in that video.
I saw it in the video.
Yeah.
I saw. I cut off all sodas long time ago. But also the thing I remember now that I cut off bread and blah blah blah. It was a very important thing, as you said now, that I cut off all the flour and flour, yeah, and I'm cutting also the all the milk.
Okay.
Not cheese. I'm okay with the cheese. I don't mind. But whenever I drink milk, like free lactose, almond milk, all the types of milk, even gluten free, free lactose, almond milk, coconut milk, all of them, they are not okay with my body.
Do you have bathroom issues?
Maybe, but not also this. I feel cramps and panics. I don't know.
You feel panic?
Panic not in my chest, but like there's something wrong.
Stress.
I don't know, but
Does it affect your mood? Because that's the main reason I avoid dairy is I don't have an issue digesting it, I don't have an issue with
Yeah,
lactose, but what it does to my mind is unacceptable to me.
yeah. That's why I go sick. I go to coffee sick. I go to Nescafe Black. That's
I mean, dairy is a gluten.
there is not my,
Sick, yeah.
but not all dairies. I love cheese.
Yeah, there's something. I'm sure you all do okay with Parmesan. I'm guessing. Gluten is the most common food intolerance in the world. Dairy is number 2. Right? I mean, 2/3 of the world is lactose intolerant. It's Europeans who had a genetic mutation like 8,000 years ago to be able to continue digesting the sugar in milk. But if you can digest it, you don't have problems with it, it's a very healthy food overall, you know, if you moderate your intake, I would say.
How can I know? Is there can I know about the milk intolerance if I have?
Most allergy tests for food are very inaccurate. The gold standard is elimination diets. That's according to my nutrition certification. I think over time those tests will get more accurate. That's something to talk to an allergist or a doctor about. That's not something I would be 100% expert on in terms of testing that right now. The testing I know is cut it out, put it back.
And eliminating is eating it for 2 months and then
Not eating it.
Eh?
Cutting it out.
Cutting
For
it out.
Ideally 3 months. Ideally. That's a long time for most people to try to figure out a food sensitivity.
I can't cut off sugar. Avocado, it has sugar, right?
It is sugar. Fruit is fruit sugar.
But
So
this
these-
one that has sugar, like.
You mean like they added it? I'll let you know in a half an hour. If I get acid reflux, then I'll know they added sugar. Any other questions?
I am on the contrary of milk. I love milk so much.
I love milk too.
Yeah, I can drink maybe.
My favorite keto dessert is cheesecake.
I love cheesecake. Why are you like?
Notice that reaction she just had. We'll talk about that later. It's not about you. Don't worry about it. Go ahead.
No, I'm talking
I love
about
cheesecake.
the plain milk.
What's the relationship
Just drinking
between
milk.
cheesecake and milk?
And then you don't have any digestion issues or anything like that.
Yes, it's cheese.
It's
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm in the camp that it's a very healthy food dairy when you can tolerate it. Like whole dairy, milk, yogurt would be the best because especially Greek yogurt has a lot more protein in it. If you have issues with milk, which a lot of people do, then alas. But if you love it,
Alas.
if you don't notice any issues with it, the only thing I would say is just be mindful of the number of calories if you're drinking whole milk. Whole milk is just as healthy as low-fat milk, but if you're trying to lose weight, then you have to be careful with that. This is slightly debatable because if I could just say it this way, we weren't designed to feed off of a cow's booty. But most people who can tolerate it, I recommend it for them, especially yogurt. Move on? Okay. I'm going to talk about food awareness. We have what is called SAD, the Standard American Diet. It literally stands for SAD. Most of the food that Americans eat, and it's definitely the burger itself is probably fine if you get rid of the bun and replace it with lettuce, pizza, things like that, donuts, soda, even the diet soda and stuff. We are in an epidemic of diabetes and obesity. In the States, we are on track for 50% of our population being type 2 diabetic. And if that trend doesn't change, that's going to collapse our entire society. You can't have half your population ending up potentially blind. There's a lot of awareness of these things, but awareness of, oh, I'm struggling to eat doesn't mean we can understand the psychology of what goes into these things. So a lot of that has nothing to do with us. Our culture is predominantly based on ultra-processed foods. If you watch their videos, you know they are foods that are literally chemically designed. They strip away all the nutrients. They put a bunch of fillers and chemicals in them to bind them together to make them as addictive as possible. So this isn't just about refined sugars per se. This isn't just about white flour. This isn't about seed oils, which is a very highly debated topic in nutrition. This is a lot about what's called the bliss point. Food manufacturers, the companies like Lay's and Chips Ahoy, Oreos, and all of these things, they spend billions of dollars researching what is called the bliss point of food. They don't design the Oreo cookie or the Dorito or the McDonald's apple pie to be satisfying. They find a point of satisfaction that's just high enough that you want to keep eating it. So when you're eating
To be super delicious, you mean?
delicious enough that you want to keep eating it, but not so delicious that you're satisfied. And the advertising shows this, at least in the States, with Pringles. Once you pop, you can't stop.
Can't stop, yeah.
I bet you can't have just one. They literally rub it in your face.
Yeah.
What is this called? This term?
The term for what they design the food? Bliss point. The book, Salt, Sugar, Fat by Michael Moss is probably the best deep dive. He literally visits a lot of the factories of these things, and they let him at the Doritos factory. They say, hey, you want to taste a Dorito without the MSG and without the salt? Here you go. They all spit it out. It's disgusting. It's vile. Garbage is what they say. They need all the extra salt. They need the MSG in the Dorito to get you to want to eat it. Now, with RFK in power and these recent things, they're coming out with more healthier versions of these things. I saw a Tostito in America that's literally just corn, avocado oil, salt. If you know what you're looking for and things like that, that's a cleaner version of, let's say, a corn chip, but it's still a corn chip. It's still not as good as corn. Eating it on the cob or out of the can and things like that. And there's a lot of evidence that the way that most of us are eating, which is, at least in the States, up to 70% of our calories is this junk, has effects beyond just our weight, cancer, more fat storage than the calorie numbers would suggest. And the point is that they design these foods to be addictive. These are drugs. If you're eating, what's your favorite junk food?
But
Burger? Okay, burger is more of a food. Like you can kill a cow and grind the meat, and then you can eat the cow. The bread, debatable. Depends on the kind of bread. If it's a McDonald's bread, that's got like 15 ingredients in it. Where real bread has flour and water and salt.
15 ingredients?
I think it's up to 15 or 16 ingredients, the bread at McDonald's. Or like the bread at the supermarkets, for example. Like it's designed to like hit your brain in a way where you're not satisfied. That's where a lot of our weight gain problems can come from. But like if you were to buy minced meat and make it yourself, make your own bread or wrap it in like lettuce or something like that, that's food. To me, that's food. The steak is more food, but to me that would be a decent meal. Any comments, thoughts? Okay.
I wanted to comment why, because if this is bad at this point, why organizations like FDA doesn't cut it off?
Well, RFK's in power now, so they are trying to make some changes, but bribes, a lot of bribes. Free market, you know, the idea that you can just choose not to eat these things, even though they are designed to literally hit your brain as a drug. You know, the tobacco companies are the ones who owned the junk food companies in the early 2000s when a lot of this stuff changed. So they used the tobacco scientists to figure this stuff out. Economics, talking about billion-dollar industries, you put a lot of people out of business. They are at least changing the food dyes to try to be more natural, like they are in Europe and Canada. To use beet juice and carrot juice instead of red 40 and yellow 6 and things like that. But that would be, that's the freedom argument. Not everybody who eats these foods becomes a drug addict and sick. I knew one person, she could eat, most of her diet was lamb and vegetables, and then she would buy a pack of 6 Oreos, she'd eat 2 at a time, and that was it. Someone like her, she doesn't have a problem like with these foods. And it's something to talk about a little bit more, but a lot of times it's not just the food itself, it's for me, a lot of this was like a trauma response. A lot of the traumas I had in childhood lead to this kind of overeating that we're not even always consciously aware that we're using them like we would use other drugs to deal with pains that we're not even aware of exist. And then in the way that they design it can prey on our sadness in that way sometimes, or our abuse that we've suffered from. Okay.
So they are mentioning here
What?
in the biological impact, the insulin resistance.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's more than just like gain weight.
لا انا قصدي ممكن تغيرينا ممكن
تعالى تعالى يا صاحبي تعالى
ايوه اهو طيب تعالى
The last part I wrote, I want to mention this. Every single country that has ever had the Americanized diet sent to it in the last 100 years, they all start having obesity, they all start having diabetes, they all start having a lot of these. There is something about the way America designs food, at least in the junk food context or in the ultra processed food context, that is causing a lot of the issues of our world today. I'm in the camp that it's not just our physical health, it's our mental health on a very extreme level. But even some of these issues that people have can extend to real foods. We'll get to that later. The billboard effect. Okay, I don't see this as much here, but this is a very simple way of looking at food, at least in the States. If it tells you that it's healthy, it's probably not good for you. An apple doesn't have a health claim on it. A steak doesn't have a health claim, chicken doesn't have a health claim, broccoli doesn't have a health claim. You don't see, I don't think Other Wolf puts health claims on their
Like
nuts.
healthy Nutella, for example.
Say again?
We have like this
healthy
Nutella.
When they say healthy spread, I mean, me personally, I have to look at the ingredients to judge it. But in the context of real eating, it's going to be better to eat hazelnuts than it is going to be hazelnut butter. It's gonna be better to eat peanuts than peanut butter. That doesn't make,
Same like the juice idea.
so they like the juice idea, because it's more pre-digested in that way when it becomes that. And like, I have issues with peanuts, but most of my issues are, I'll eat the entire jar of peanut butter in one day. And it's like, the way it makes my mind feel is not so bad. But there's a lot of fraud in the industry of food. Olive oil. Most of the olive oil you buy is fake. It's cut with soybean oil, sunflower oil, can be filled with chlorophyll to change the color, they bleach it. Not all of it, there are tricks you can do. You always want to buy olive oil in glass. You want to see if it has a harvest date. You're probably, here you probably can't do that, but it's like, there's an entire Italian oil mafia, and there's an entire police force devoted to trying to stop the mafia of all of the fake olive oil. There is a lot of this stuff in our food. At least in the States, a lot of the fish we buy is mislabeled. It'll say like red snapper or tuna, in this case it's a rope, but it'll actually be tilapia, which is a very cheap fish. There was research done by, I don't know if it was the Egyptian government or what lab, but a lot of the protein bars in Egypt, this is common in the States too. Whatever the label says, at least in ones in Egypt, they had less protein, they had more calories, they had more fat, they had more sugar. A lot of the food that's created, there's a lot of deception that goes on. That happened in the States too. I remember we had this one protein bar where it was like, even my friends who weren't like bodybuilders at the time said, why does this taste like a Snickers bar? And it turned out that there was more fat and more sugar, and they were just lying, effectively.
The protein.
Protein bread. Like, the protein bread is often like, they use gluten to fill out the protein number, which even if you have no gluten issues, is the lowest quality protein of all the proteins that we've discovered, where whey protein and eggs would be the highest quality for animal products, and then soy would probably be the highest quality for plant products in terms of the amino acids and how well you digest it and things like that. And so when we're talking about like, what should I eat? It always goes back to real food. The easy answer is, if you can bring yourself to minimize the amount of, let's say, industry-made junk. That if you're going to eat pizza, it is objectively better to make it yourself. That doesn't make pizza good or bad inherently, but if you make it with your own flour and your own cheese, and
You trust all the ingredients.
you can trust the ingredients to be real, and because it's in your kitchen, there's not going to be a lot of these added fillers like xanthan gum and guar
Maybe
gum.
flour is a problem. You have to use some other material.
We have to use all.
Ingredients.
Yeah, if I could have dairy, I would be making it with almond flour, coconut flour, or Greek yogurt for what?
No, we're talking about the flour itself.
Is there about like making pizza?
Nafsu.
Like if you want to make something that, if you have a
There
gluten
is a
issue,
gluten-free flour, I think.
the gluten-free flours here seem to have xanthan gum in them, so that might irritate your stomach. They might irritate your stomach.
Okay.
I tend to use, if I'm doing baking, I tend to do low carb in that way, so almond flour, coconut flour, and I don't even try to have almond flour anymore, I stick with coconut flour. But for like a bread, it's really dry coconut flour, you really have to like experiment a lot with that. Tapioca starch, which I don't know if they have here, cassava flour, which I don't know if they have here, would be good alternatives as well.
There is اللي هو الترمس اسمه ايه؟ You tried it? Thermos, I don't know it in English.
Thermos?
But we do have like some types of flour that we're using in a different way now. And I think it works with some ingredients, with some dough. But I didn't try it myself actually.
I mean, the best gluten-free pizza recipe I ever found and made involved a little bit of almond flour, psyllium husk.
Psyllium husk.
Psyllium husk.
Lupin beans.
Okay.
What's it called?
Lupin beans.
Lupine beans, yes, that's a low carb flour, I've never
Yeah.
actually worked with it.
Yeah.
If you're looking to make these types of breads, all these alternatives for
This
people
will
like
be
us are going to be better. We still have to
with
be
less
mindful.
calories, right?
That
More
depends.
the same
If you're
calories.
using almond and coconut flour, it's very high fat flour, it can actually end up doing just as much. If you
Okay.
try to keep the calories down, there are benefits to that, but it's a bit of a separate discussion. But bear in mind, it's still bread. It's still bread, it's still pizza.
So it's not that I'm getting something better that can help me in my diet. It's still
It will
the same.
help you be able to enjoy your food without the stomach distress. And that can be
But
helpful.
not losing weight.
Depends. It really depends. Like,
flour normally whole wheat.
Whole wheat.
Whole wheat.
whole wheat is kind of, it's a lot of like, it's better, but if you're buying the bread, it's not. If you're buying the loaf of bread, it has like a list of 10
No,
ingredients.
she's talking about the
Yeah, whole wheat flour, like gluten flour.
flour,
Yeah, if you're making it yourself, it's a little better. If you're buying it in like the plastic wrap and it has like a million ingredients in it, it's really not that
I used to
much better.
live in Mexico, in the villages in Mexico, like in the countryside, they do their own flour.
Feel better there too. The healthiest form of wheat is bolillo.
Is what?
Bolillo.
Melina?
If you're going to eat gluten in wheat,
Yeah.
that would be the equivalent of what I'm talking about here is bolillo.
Is good.
I don't know if we can tolerate it. I'm not willing to risk it
Okay.
because it's still gluten. But if you're going to eat wheat, that is the most unprocessed form that exists.
Yeah.
You mean not bread?
Yeah, exactly. If you're trying to eat bread, it's better to make it yourself or sourdough.
Yes.
Sourdough.
Sourdough. Yeah. I feel very
What's the sourdough?
Sourdough, it's very trendy nowadays in Egypt.
I've never heard about it.
Yeah,
It's almost like the yogurt of bread. It has a starter. It has a culture. Like it's like fermented bread. And so something about the fermentation can help. I don't know. I'm not willing to.
Sourdough.
I'm not willing to risk it. I'm not willing to risk that experiment because I know how bad it gets if I do. But sourdough. If you're going to buy
Yeah,
bread, you're
there are-
best off with some kind of sourdough.
there are some restaurants here in Egypt, which one of them, his name is sourdough, and it's very trendy because it's healthier. And the girl who built up this who did this startup is actually having this intolerance, so that's why
So that's why she's.
she's great.
Maybe you can try it.
I'm gonna move along. I guess I put
We need a grocery list.
Not at like the grocery stores here, but in America, we say the edges, all of the packaged foods in the middle. The fruit section, the vegetable section, the meat section, the dairy section, the date section, if you're not like me eating like all the dates. Even the deli section can be better, although some of the processed meats here have a lot of
Just
like,
avoid the process.
avoid if it's
Any fact.
anything that's in a box that has like a nutrition label, that's oversimplifying it, obviously.
Even the yogurt.
No, yogurt's okay. If you can tolerate it. If you can't tolerate it, then no. But like for general health, yeah, it's fine. It's an oversimplification to say like unlabeled foods like that. Colors. You ever notice how McDonald's, Domino's, Pizza Hut, Coca-Cola, they all use red and yellow?
Yeah.
Their brands are the colors of red and yellow.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's on purpose.
That's
This is the psychological.
The trick,
part about it.
red and yellow
Yeah.
red makes you hungry and
Yeah.
yellow makes you impulsive.
Yeah.
They know what they're doing to try to trick our brain.
Even the snowman.
I don't know if they do it here because
Yeah,
they don't
It's
have
the
like.
same, yeah.
Do you have Cinnabons in the malls here
Yeah.
Yeah.
where they release the smell?
Yeah.
That's on purpose.
Yeah.
Some people go to the mall wanting to buy Cinnabon with intention. Other people are there to get into their brain.
Yes, whenever
Ooh.
I smell it and then I.
Then you
want
want
it.
They are doing everything they can to trick our
They
minds.
actually is doing the like tests, like a man who's standing and offering people to test. So it's like it's not only the smell. They are working on all our.
They do billions of dollars of research to get us to eat as much of their food as possible, competing with each other and things like that, for sure. We've all covered this already. Okay, and so you're asking for like a list. It's like I've been saying, it's real food, and that is a very difficult definition because technically yogurt's not like a whole food. Milk is. Technically rice, like white rice and basmati and jasmine, or they process out the bran, but those are single ingredient foods that you're ideally making yourself. The more you can cook in your own kitchen versus going out, the better you're going to be. I would say this as a coach, I would never push these things on a new client. That it's like to go from where you are now to say, let's say we could talk about paleo for a second. If you're far removed from that diet, the pain that you go through, like you described when you're not eating and stuff, can be so overwhelming that it leads us to just give up or feel bad about ourselves.
Yeah.
It's often about what changes can I make this week that are easy changes for me to do that are gonna get me closer to a better place, one step at a time, versus someone like me who does better with all or nothing. I tend to be someone who's like, I'm gonna try this now, I'm gonna try that now, because of how impulsive I am.
I just watched, it's not, it was a video, I think, on YouTube, and it says that the better way of taking a step forward to where you want to be, it's to make your environment ready for what you're going to do.
100%.
So, like, if you want to go to the gym, just prepare your outfit, your sport wear before you sleep if you're going in the morning. So at least you're motivating yourself that, okay, you're ready to get
That's
up
why I
and
asked
go
them
to
on the
the gym.
grocery list.
So
Out of sight,
you
out of
have to
mind.
clean up your kitchen and put the exact material you need, and to get rid of the other easier, because as much as it's easy to find, you will use it.
Like if you have a problem with sweets, the best thing to do is not, if you have a problem with sweets, best thing to do is not have them in the house.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm not having them. They are just getting me.
They're everywhere. The problem is they're everywhere.
She can order them in the.
No, I don't buy it.
But-
I swear. Last week I had bunch of this. That was a surprise. Someone just gave it to me.
Let's just enjoy it, and that's it.
Well,
Enjoy
I
what you
feel
have.
guilty. Wallah.
she's talking about a trunk full. That's what she
Yeah.
meant. So it's like, you get it, if you can't get it out of the house, make it difficult. I
Yes,
have my
exactly.
refrigerator with this really far like cabinet in my house in
Not in
America.
front of your.
I need a step ladder
eye.
to get to that thing.
Yes.
That's where I put anything I'm trying to avoid
Yes.
that's in the house.
Yes.
If you want to eat more healthy foods, have them in front of you. Have your fruit bowl right on your table so that
Exactly.
you could have that snack there.
Exactly.
If you're tolerating nuts and seeds, you can have that there. Those are very high in calories, but they're still real food. The ideal is something, like I said, where you know what all the ingredients are, and ideally you're making it yourself. And aside from the hip row, that just looks like a bunch of diabetes. And tea. I think I see
Oh.
كان اسمه واحد
خلصتهم. ده يعني بصوا
حتى مع زوجة
زي
صاحبتك يعني
الثلاثة
ينفع كده؟
جوار.
قلت لها جوار ايه ده بصي.
I want to ask about
tea. Sure.
when I'm cooking, what about oils يعني?
Okay.
I cook with
I recommend low temperature cooking olive oil because it burns fast. High temperature cooking avocado oil, you don't have that in Egypt. Coconut
I
oil,
used to use the rice oil.
rice oil I think is okay.
and butter.
Butter is okay. I wouldn't go crazy with a lot of those like coconut or butter. Wouldn't go crazy with them, but those are perfectly fine. Butter also burns kind of low.
Yeah.
Honestly, I usually recommend avocado oil because there's a high smoke point. The fruit oils, because avocados and olives are fruits, but you can't get
You
it.
don't have it.
So it would be olive oil at low temperatures, coconut oil at high temperatures, beef tallow if you don't mind it.
Before?
Beef tallow, beef fat.
What is it?
اللي هي الدهنة بتاعت
I can only find it at the,
Ah,
I can only find it at the some of the local farms like Taiba and stuff like that.
This is healthy?
If you're not going crazy with it and you're not mixing,
If you take a piece of it, like, you know.
it depends on your diet. It's like
But this was the keto diet, I think.
yeah, if you're, there is a potential issue with a very high carb diet and a high saturated fat diet. If you're doing a low carb diet and you're adding a lot of saturated fat, the science on that that's emerging is pretty promising, let's say. But the idea that saturated fat is bad for you is an old myth.
Yes,
That-
I
that-
thought that earlier, and I used to fight my mom and my grandma about using this kind of.
Because like those saturated fats are completely bonded, so they don't break down as easily as the other fats would, like rapeseed oil, which is what they call canola oil, because nobody wants to advertise something that's called rape. Those oxidize really quickly, and they burn very fast, effectively, and they're manufactured with a lot of bleach and deodorizers to get the canola oil, to get the cottonseed oil, to get the vegetable oils, as they're called. Flaxseed oil can be okay if you don't overcook it as well. I've heard decent things about rice bran oil. Some of the science of canola oil is okay. I prefer the more natural oils, which would be olive, avocado, coconut, beef tallow. I feel like I'm missing something.
Olive oil and coconut can be in high temperature or
Olive oil should be low temperature.
Yeah.
It smokes at 325 Fahrenheit, which is like 160 C. So like when I cook eggs with it, it's when I'm cooking really low, like French type eggs. Coconut oil and the animal fats, those can go up to like 230, 240. You'll start to see it smoke.
Yeah.
Now when you're cooking steak, you just gotta let it smoke. It's gonna smoke. Like you just kind of deal with that kind of thing.
So you said that we cannot do it in a high temperature. How can?
You can do, well, I'm talking about olive oil, I wouldn't do it at high temperature.
Yep.
Not olive oil.
It's not.
So what will you do with the steak? Butter?
No, I wouldn't do it. You butter burns just as fast. No, coconut oil, beef fat, or canola oil if you're going to use one of the plant oils. Peanut oil might be okay.
Okay.
I don't recommend those oils usually. It's a very, very highly contested thing. There are many nutrition scientists who will say that there's good evidence that these are healthy. There's many evidence that say they're unhealthy. So I just tend to lean towards the one that everybody agrees on when it comes to the plant oils.
Beef fat is that right?
Beef fat for high fat cooking will be better than most of the plant oils, yeah.
Okay. We can add this other solution, Africa. We can boycott our families, especially moms.
Work on families.
Boycott, yeah. You
You
can.
like
You can what?
avoid them.
No, boycotting. I need to boycott my mom. She's insisting on doing mahshi and macaroni bechamel.
You
Now
can.
she's my favorite Egyptian dish.
You can.
See?
This is
Mahshi
lovely.
is your favorite?
Mashi.
Mahshi is heads, yeah.
It's healthy. It's healthy, I would say, if it's freshly made. If you have diabetes, maybe not so much, because then your blood sugar is going to go from all the rice. If you're an athlete, it's excellent.
Yeah, because it's great for weightlifting.
It would be great after a workout, along with, like I get the rice mashi along with some kind of protein. Yeah. But if you're severely overweight and you're struggling with overeating and you have diabetes, like type 2 diabetes, I would be mindful of your rice intake, basically, is what I would say. Because rice is basically just sugar. Like white rice is sugar, in the sense of all carbohydrates except for fiber convert to blood sugar in the body. So there's not really a difference at the end of the day between table sugar and rice. Of course, the rice is going to be better, but to the body, it ends up all just being blood sugar.
So mahshi is healthy or not healthy?
Depends. There's no such thing as healthy or unhealthy. If you ask me that question, breathing is unhealthy. Because it's the most common source of plastic. It depends on your goals and it depends on your context. For Big Rami, mashi's healthy.
Vegan only.
Not only, but someone like that is an example of someone I would never tell them to cut their carbs back for their goals. Of course, he's trading his health for his career, with how big he is. But that's a situation where you need lots and lots of carbohydrates if you want every ounce of muscle possible.
But mahshi has a lot of vegetables, so it's
What is the problem?
Well, we're going to get to why that's not always a good thing. It's not always a good thing. Any other questions before we move on?
From where we can get authentic olive oil? Because you said
Glass bottle, go glass bottle, not the plastic bottles, that's for sure. Look for a harvest date printed on the bottle. When was this harvested? And then, even then, look online and research. In America, we have 100% California olive oil. That's what we know is like to be
We have
trusted.
here in Catherine and Seymour.
Now, I will say this, the olive oils I've tasted here, even that spritzy spray, tastes so much better than even the legit when I buy it in America. It's like, it's something about it, it feels authentic to me.
Yeah.
So I would say, at least as long as it's not a plastic bottle, research the brands. And to be honest with you, real olive oil is expensive.
Yeah.
Like, we're paying like the equivalent of close to 1,000 pounds for a bottle. That's big in the States.
Yeah.
Real olive oil is expensive. That's one way of knowing. Is it the cheapest one? Then it's probably fake.
Yeah.
Okay, we are running out of some time, so I'm gonna try to burn through this. Okay. I'm gonna discuss briefly different types of alternative diets and elimination diets. A lot of the ones I'm listing towards the end, these are what we call elimination diets, where we remove certain foods. All of these things have one thing in common, including the vegan diet. It's all based on that real food principle. Keto would be the one caveat to that for the most part. Everyone's heard of the Mediterranean diet. It is the most popular scientific diet, high in antioxidants. It focuses on fish and monounsaturated fats, like olive oil especially. One of the drawbacks to the diet is it still allows for a lot of grains, so you can end up eating a lot of pasta, you can end up eating a lot of rice, and things like that, which can lead us to overeating. The quality of the food matters a lot. Like if you're getting like your lentils or your brain fart, quinoa, things like that, makes a big difference versus a lot of the packaged food that you might buy. This would be a good starting place for someone who's trying to find a diet to follow, as opposed to just picking certain foods. It has a lot of science behind its benefits. I'm not a big fan of how it kind of limits like the meat intake, but in the context of the way that you're eating high carb and the fact that it's promoting fish and chicken, I think it's actually really good. It's not for people with severe gluten grain disorders. If you have certain autoimmune diseases, a lot of these foods can be a lot of the triggers, and that includes even some of the healthy plants. We'll talk about that later. Has anyone ever tried or thought about like a Mediterranean diet? Consider we're in the Mediterranean.
No, never.
Okay. This is the most scientifically researched healthy diet.
Can you just explain this because I couldn't get the idea of
The Mediterranean diet is basically focusing on the foods that you guys tend to focus on, and the Italians that focus, all of the countries of Greece, Italy.
which is carbohydrate?
There's a lot of carbohydrates, yes.
Yeah.
And so you can overeat. Carbohydrates in and of themselves are not inherently bad for you. If you're severely type 2 diabetic, then it's probably something to keep to a minimum. But the thing I like to say about carbs is this. The dietary need for carbohydrates, the need for it, like we need oxygen and water, is zero. We never, if you're a healthy functioning person who's not hypoglycemic, and she's experienced, or I know a lot of people who've experienced that, you don't need to eat them to live. Your body cannot synthesize amino acids, that's what we need protein for. Your body cannot synthesize fat, that's what we need fat for. But the blood sugar is so important to our brain, to our blood cells, to our mitochondria, that we have evolved from evolution theory mechanisms to create all of the blood sugar we need from our muscle cells, from our protein, and from our fatty acids. That does not mean that eating carbohydrates is inherently bad. But I will say this, in a culture of people who are sitting down all day and never using them for anything, the amount of carbs that we eat relative to our activity level is just far too high. And that is one of the benefits of lower carbohydrate diets. I will say this about Mediterranean. If you're eating a whole foods Mediterranean diet, it is unlikely to eat as many carbs as most of us are eating. And that can help us with our mood and our weight loss journey. I'll move on. Vegan diet. Okay, like I said, my bias is more in animal-based stuff, so I don't talk much about the vegan diet. Its biggest benefit is more for our ethics. A lot of vegans, there's two camps. There's the vegans for health, and then the vegans for ethics. I respect the vegans for ethics a lot more. The one thing that gives pause to me is eggs. When I'm talking about ethics, if we can make an easy argument about ethics. The chickens we eat are not the same chickens that lay our eggs that we consume. They're different breeds. Well, the only gender that can lay eggs are the females. So when it comes to the chickens that lay eggs, they just take the males and slaughter them in a grinder, and then often feed those grinded up male chickens back to the other chickens. This is one of the examples of where a vegan diet, for people who find it so unethical, the factory farming, the deaths of the animals and stuff, the way that cows are treated and things like that. Cows aren't treated so bad, but chickens and pigs, at least in the States, a lot of the animals go through a lot of suffering to get to our plate.
But maybe this is this about the culture outside, not in here. We have a different.
Yeah, here we had a bit different. Yeah, the other way, like.
What I've read, I mean, the fact that you sell cage-free eggs and other types of eggs, the fact that the omelet brand exists, like there are different brands that are trying to do things that are more, like you don't have pasture-raised.
No.
It's hard to find pasture-raised.
It's not about.
No, غدا stayed something else.
It's about the religious way.
You mean like halal?
Halal.
Halal, yeah.
Exactly.
Fair enough, yes.
Yeah, there's something else about this because I have tried myself this vegan or plant-based diet concept. The thing
I don't recommend it to most people, but that's
yeah,
for other reasons.
like I was about to die 2 days later because of low protein, I felt very weak. The thing is, I read about it a lot before trying it. So outside Egypt or outside the world, the Muslim world, they think that it's unethical or it's
The way they kill them.
no, it's actually don't kill animals, leave animals alone, and this is the life.
So the biggest problem with that argument is where I put the crop theory on.
No, it's
When you are making the plants that we eat, you have to kill all the animals in the field. Millions of insects, millions of bunny rabbits, millions of rodents, birds are killed to grow the very plants that we eat. There is no way to avoid killing animals for us to eat when it comes to the way that we eat.
yeah.
And so someone who is a rancher, who grows their own cow and then eats that cow, kills one animal. Vegans, by definition, they kill a lot more animals, technically speaking, to get their food. A lot of them recognize this, that, okay, there's no way to avoid animal death for us to eat in a production world.
But I was talking about that